Hey guys, it's Jae Burnham, and today I'm going to be talking about to you how to rekindle your business passion. When the fire is gone, when it's dead and it's down, you feel defeated and deflated, and you just don't know where to turn, and everything's just so overwhelming, and you just want to give up. How do you rekindle that fire for your business again? How do you get it to spark up? Well, I'm going to go over that. Hi guys, I'm Jae Burnham, and this is the Real Jae Burnham Show. Thank you so much very much for coming to my show each and every day, where you get to learn how to start, build, and run a successful and profitable business. All right. Now, before we get going, I want to remind you of something. You need to subscribe to my channel. You do that right over there, right down there. You can see it. I know you can. I have faith in you. All right. Subscribe to this channel. It's got a lot of great information. Sure, a lot of it's geared towards a moving business, but there's also a lot of great stuff that goes that transcends just the moving business. So if you want to learn how to start, build, and run a successful and profitable business, this is your guy to listen to. I come out from the trenches. I'm not going to give you some hoo-ha. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, and I'm not going to promise you things that just aren't real. But I can promise you, if you follow my advice, you can start, run, and build your own successful business. All right, guys. So here, let's get into this. I want to go over something. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you don't, I'm going to let you guys know. For those who do know, awesome. But I have a moving business. I've had this business now since 2008. We're on our 10th year. We've been in business 9 years. We're now going on our 10th year in business. 10 years, guys. 10. That's a long time. Now, my business has had success from the get-go. Every year, it has gone up and up and up and up. Income has. But last year, my income crashed. It actually went half from the year before. The year before, I did $300,000. This last year, I did $155,000. Now, you might be asking yourself, how in the hell did you do that? What happened? Well, the truth of it is that there's a lot of things. There was a lot of parts in place, but I had lost, especially in the first half of that year, of 2016, I really lost my passion. I lost my fire to do the business. I just lost it. I just wanted to give up. I felt defeated. I was overwhelmed. There was a lot of things that were coming in externally that would just make me feel this way, that I just didn't know how to solve or how to cope with, and I just gave up. I just mentally checked out of my business and gave up on it. And I was just basically phoning it in and just letting it going with the flow. And it took a little bit to get out of that, and I'm going to go over how I got out of it. But just to give you the story, the real story is back in 2015, I had bought this house on land contract. It was a great house. It was a great place for me. A big driveway, big house. It was a 4-bedroom house. So I was able to use some of the rooms for storage. I had a garage, and it was a good place I could park my trucks in the driveway. And then when I didn't have enough driveway, I parked trucks out in front of the street. And I was running 3, 4, 5 trucks at times. I mean, I was 3 and 4 jobs a day. I was killing it. I was making a lot of money. What happened then is several of the neighbors apparently did not appreciate the fact that I was running a successful business out of my home. Heaven forbid. So unbeknownst to me, not one of these little cowards, not one of these flipping cowards ever said a word to me. Now, they didn't send me an email, they didn't phone me, they didn't knock on my door, they didn't send me a letter, nothing. They did nothing. These cowards, these spineless little bitches, and that's exactly what it was, is a bunch of coward bullies wanted to bully me around. And what they did is they went up to Carol Wood here in Lansing, Michigan, who is a councilman at large, whose whole purpose is to destroy businesses. Her whole campaign is about stopping business. This fat fucking slob, and yes, I'm sorry to curse, but she is a fat slob. If you go check a picture, I'm not even joking, right? She needs to lay off the friggin' Twinkies. Hey, and matter of fact, I'll put her phone number and her address and email. You guys can go and yell at her for all I care, because she is the world's class first just bitch. And you know, everybody in my circle thing, a lot of people hate her, just despise her. Why? Because she tries to hurt business. Anyway, they went to this little cunt, and yeah. So Jay, tell us how you really feel. Okay, well, I'm telling you, they went to this bitch and they complained. Oh, this guy's running a business out of my house, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that the reason why I got this specific home was because it was grandfathered in, and it had been previously a business. So per the statute, I could run legally a business from this house. But the neighbors complained. They didn't complain about the two doors down, the towel heads that had like 6, 7 junk cars in their driveway just leaking oil and everything out in the street. No, they didn't care about that. They didn't care about the guy next door who was running a landscaping business out of his home. They didn't care about the guy who had his RVs and stuff. They didn't care about the guys across the street whose house was who actually was one of the guys who bitched and moaned, wasn't even living there because his house burnt down, but all the construction crews and everything were in the middle of the road. No, they complained about me because my business was running. I was successful. So what do little people do who, when they see somebody who's being successful, they go and try to stab you in the back. And that's exactly what these little people did. They have no mental fortitude, and they have no thing. And found out they're all liberals, and they all voted Democrat. True story. I checked it out. So it's not surprising. But no, I just lost half, like 2/3 of my viewing of it because I picked on liberals. But anyway, so these little cowards didn't have a chance to come and talk to me. All right, they didn't come talk to me. They didn't do nothing, but they went and complained. So what happens is Carol Wood started getting with the Movers Association, not behind my back. Not once did they say, hey, you know, Jay, they tried to send some guy who has no authority trying to tell me that I couldn't park my trucks where it was, which I already knew I was because none of the trucks were parked in the street. They were parked in my yard. We specifically did that. Out in front of the yard, but in my yard. They were specifically, which is completely and utterly legal, and none of them were parked there overnight. And so the buses could get through, but the construction crew for the house that burnt down, one of the guys who were bitching, all those guys were blocking the street. Not once did anybody have any problem, you know, getting through, you know, ambulances or school buses or anything, but they wanted to say that they were. Not once. Anyway, so these guys complained, and they actually had me go to jail. They had called in the state police because, you know, Carol Wood is a city councilman, so she used the police to actually have me arrested and my car towed, which it was a personal vehicle. But they said, well, you got banners on your car, so it's a commercial vehicle now. Bullshit. It's registered to me personally, and they knew it. But they wanted to try to hurt me. Anyway, so I had to go and deal with that. Now we went to court, and I ended up having to pay a lot of money for lawyers. I got a $1,000 fine, and so on and so forth. And so I had that happening, and that cost me a lot. And it was just really defeating. So I had to go and find another place. I found a warehouse, which was a great warehouse, and the guy was very accommodating. I appreciate the guy helping me out. But the thing is, it was way too expensive for what I could really afford. And but I had no other options. I had no choice. And it became an albatross around my neck. And I just felt defeated. People, you know, things started happening. I couldn't keep people. Some of the people started stealing from me. They were, you know, lying on the bills and then taking the money, saying that they were tips, or they were saying, oh, we only worked 4.5 hours, but we got caught in traffic. Like, I wasn't smart enough to see it, and it was very defeating. And it just kept happening over and over and over. You know, the guy who was living with my best friend, he was being taken advantage of me, and he was, you know, who I had trusted, but he kept hiring his son, who was just nothing but an asshole. It was just a bunch of things were happening. Anyway, so I just felt really defeated, and I gave up. I gave up, guys. I just felt defeated. I felt overwhelmed, depressed, and I had just given up. So for the first part of 2016, I couldn't afford the advertising because I was spending so much money on rent, and so on. And it just became it just became too much. And I couldn't be doing the advertising that I was normally doing. I couldn't do any of the things that I wanted or needed to do for my business. And it was just, you know, it was just ended up too much for me. And I just was like, oh, I couldn't understand why. And, you know, when the downward spiral starts happening, it continues to happen. That's why they call it the downward spiral. It keeps going and going and going and going. And there seems like to be no end to it. And it's the catch-22. And I just finally, I had to go and, you know, I had to figure out what was going on, what was happening. And I had to take a long, hard look at myself. And so I did. I sit there going, what's going on? And I thought it was all external. I thought it was external stuff, you know, there's new, you know, like there was like 5 new moving businesses that started in the area, you know, all this other stuff. And I was like, what's going on? I thought it was all this external stuff that I had no control over. But the truth of it is, it was all me. I personally lost my passion. I started phoning it in. I felt defeated and depressed. And I let the environment crush me and keep pushing down and putting on the pressure. And this is what happened. So once I figured it out, once I found out, it was like a light bulb came on in my head. It was like, oh, okay, yes, all right. It's me. And it's me that's the problem. It's me that I was thinking. So once I got that figured out, I started changing a lot of things about me so that this wouldn't happen again. I slowly, I shouldn't say slowly, but I systematically and step by step had rebuilt my confidence and my passion for my business. Things started happening towards the end of the last year. More businesses started coming around. I started cutting off the expenses and things that I was normally doing because I couldn't afford them. And I start getting rid of, you know, I dropped a lot talking to some friends that were just holding me down. I got rid of my roommate, who was one of my best friends. I got rid of him because he was just a toxic individual and was not contributing to the motion. And it was actually one of the big reasons why I was going down. And that was really hard to do because I could still consider him a friend. I still consider him a friend. I hope he is doing well, but he was toxic. His whole family was toxic. They were talking about me behind my back. But so I had to get rid of them. I had to get rid of some family members that were toxic. Stop talking to them. And, you know, I had to just get rid of people that were hurting me and my business. Had to fire guys that were doing as good. And, you know, it created some confusion at first, but I worked through that confusion. And then at the end of the year, I was like, okay, good. Now it got to the point where I had to come out and get rid of the warehouse that I was in. Even though it was a great spot, it was an albatross, and I had to get rid of it. So I did. So I got rid of that. And even though I'm not running into the roadblocks and the problems, I'm still getting a few of them, but they're lessening. I can actually see that they're lessening because I'm slowly and surely still building up my passion again for my business. You know, when you get rid of the things that are causing you problems, things start to improve. But when they improve, you get the blow off of the other confusion that has been blowing, It's sort of like when a dam starts, you got a water behind this dam. Well, the dam is not natural. It's a barrier, and the water keeps building up and keeps building up behind this dam. But the dam is not natural. It's a barrier. It could be physical, mental, spiritual, whatever it is, but it's a dam. And then slowly the water starts going over the dam. And when it does, it starts eroding the top of the dam and cutting grooves in the dam until the point where the dam becomes so compromised that it just explodes and the water just rushes out. And that's a great thing. But when the water's rushing out, it's taking everything with it. But the water's rushing out, and that's a huge problem, right? It's creating fast floods. It's creating problems down the line, down the river. It's hurting things down the line. And that's what's happening. So it's that blow off. The water went over and destroyed the dam that was in my life. But because of the water, it's now coming down to the water's going down to the level that it's supposed to be in. and that's great, and we're getting things handled. But there's still that little bit of problems, and that's going to happen in life, and that's one thing you got to do. But when you feel defeated, there are things that are stopping you. And one thing you got to figure out is when you're feeling defeated and depressed, these are symptoms of a greater problem. Now, the problems could be spiritual, mental, or physical. They could be external. But quite honestly, it starts with you. And you got to change your mindset. You got to realize that you're in a funk. You got to realize that you're depressed, that you're defeated, that you're overwhelmed. And be willing to admit it. And then find somebody, when you get to that thing and you admit that, you're like, yeah, you're right, that's me. I'm the one that's, how do I do this? You've got to look at yourself and you got to make a choice. Do I still want to do this business? Do I still want to do this activity? Or should I just get rid of it? I'm going to say personally, and this is my opinion, it's not based on science or anything, but my opinion is that 80% of the time, you should continue on with your business. You should rekindle the purpose. 20% of the time, yeah, you need to dump it. It's worthless. But I'm going to say 80% of the time, you're just going to have to refocus your efforts. And to do that, you got to, one, recognize that it is your problem. It's not anybody else's problem. And most of the time, it's yours internal problem, not some external problem. There's competition. There's people that are going to start moving business or businesses in your niche. There's going to be bad employees. There's going to be bill problems. There's going to be advertising problems. They're there. They were there even when you started your business, even when you were doing well, right? They were there then, and you overcame them then. Why? Because you had a different mindset. So it comes down to mindset. It comes down to poor person thinking. You've got to change that mindset and realize, and then once you change that mindset, then you got to start getting rid of what's causing me to be this depressed. Is it somebody? Am I watching too much news? Am I engaging in communications I shouldn't be engaging in? Is there people in my life that are toxic and holding me back? Things like that. And then once you figured that out, you got to get rid of those things that are causing you to be depressed and overwhelmed, whether it's employees, family members, friends. It doesn't matter. You got to get rid of them. Get rid of those people, get rid of those elements. Once you get those elements, then you start actually rebuilding the physicality of your business. You actually start doing the things that you need to do that you know actually works. Like for me, I wasn't sending out postcards for the longest time. Well, what am I doing now? I am making sure that I'm sending out my postcards every single week. I'm making sure making sure that there's money. I wasn't saving money. Now I'm saving money. Not a lot, but I'm doing my best and I'm putting money away and there's some money in the bank. So when winter comes, boom, I moved into a new place. Now this place I told them what happens during the wintertime. It gets really, really slow here. So we worked out a deal where I'll pay more rent than that's actually the rent of this place is X amount. We've decided between the landlord and myself that I'd pay during the summer months when there's a lot of business, that I will pay more than what the rent is, so that in the wintertime I can pay less. So it won't be that much of a stress. I'm in a place that I can actually walk to places and not have to drive my vehicle. I got a vehicle that's much more economical, and so on and so forth. So you got to actually start, once you get rid of figure out what was going around in your own universe, then you got to figure out who and what was causing that, and then 3, get rid of those things, and then 4, actually start building your life up. Things will still pop up. Problems are still going to happen. Things are going to cause you problems and stress. But it's now you're going to be into a better mental fortitude. You're going to have a higher mental fortitude to be able to overcome those stresses. And you're going to be able to get back into the swing of things when things were doing really well. So to make this very long story very short, I am actually doing a lot better now. my business is doing better. I can definitely see the upswing. I actually see the positive now. And more and more that I see the positive, more uplifted I feel. The more happier and blessed I feel. And as that keeps going, and I actually see the fruits of my labor. Because see, one thing is production is the basis of morale, right? And that's true for anybody, whether you're an employee or you're a business owner. Production is the basis of morale. When you actually see production producing the results that they're supposed to be, your morale will benefit. All right, I don't care if you're screwing in screws into the new Ford Mustang or whatever it is. I don't care if you're flipping burgers. If you're flipping burgers and you're doing it to the best of your ability, you know, you're going to know that you're doing a good job. And you know what? That gives you such a self-awareness and confidence, and you're going to feel a lot better. And that is the basis of morale. It isn't the only thing of morale, but it is the basics. It's the rudiment of morale. So when you're doing things really well, you're really producing, you're going to feel better. And that's what's happening with me now. I'm actually seeing the results of my labor. Oh, it's starting to rain now. That's nice. So I'm going to just see the dark skies, guys. I better get inside here before it really starts coming, because it's really starting. It was just sprinkling, but now it's starting to come in. All right. Anyway, ooh, now it's dark. I don't know. There we go. I'll stay in the light here. All right. Well, screw it. What's a little water? What am I going to do? Melt? Am I the Wicked Witch of the West? Anyway, so, no, I'm the fat man of the North. Gotcha. Anyway, guys, you know, it's just, once you just got to produce and do what the things you know are going to cause good things. The things that you know have worked in the past, you got to restart doing those again. And don't stop, when you see that yourself, once you've got all that done and you've seen the results, you've got to put in a rule. When you see that yourself feeling deflated and you're seeing yourself get back into those moods, you got to recognize those moods and create a system, a rule, or something so that that doesn't happen. So when you start recognizing that you're starting to feel defeated or overwhelmed, you got to stop and recognize that feeling. And so you go, okay, good. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. What do I need to do? Then you could change it right then and there. And it's usually a mental shift you're going to have to do. But sometimes it's maybe you need to go out and exercise. Maybe you need to step away from it. Maybe maybe you've been watching the news, or maybe you've been watching CNN and Fox News and stuff too much. Just recognize, oh man, I've been watching a lot of the news lately. All right, let me get off. Maybe it's you're on Facebook and you've been Facebooking too much. Oh my God, I've been really Facebooking too much. All right, then stop it. Okay? No, it's settling down. Okay, then so once you figure it out and you got rid of the toxic people and you're doing what you're doing, the next thing is to put in rules so that it doesn't happen again. All right, guys, these are the things you really need to do. It's very simple. It's really a 5-step process. It's not that hard. If you need to know what those processes, I'm not going to write them down for you. You're big people, you're adults. You can go through this video and go over the different and write them down for yourself. Or just watch this video over and over and over until you really got it. All right? So I'm going to let you go with that. This is how I rekindled the passion for myself, and these are the 5 steps that you can do it to rekindle your own passions. If you're feeling defeated, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment below, and I'll give you all the encouragement I can help you with. All right? So I'll definitely do that. All right, guys, so I'll try to help you out as best I can. And if I don't know, I'll refer you to people or things or books or TV shows or videos that you could watch that will. All right, guys, hope to hear from you very soon. I love you. I like you. Make sure you subscribe, share this with all your family, friends, and don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Every time you guys like the video, every time you guys watch the video, every time you share the video, it helps me out, and I'm able then to go on and make more of these videos. So without those likes, those shares, and those comments, I can't be doing what I'm doing because people won't watch them. All right? So, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate everything you do. All right, bye-bye.